We all know that our embryo is in a sphere or spherical shape, okay? How can we take the coronal section? Like this, okay? This is from the mid sagittal line, we can take the coronal section. Sagittal section, okay, right. So imagine we have a spear shaped embryo, that is a developing embryo, and we are taking a coronal section and we are weaving it from the anterior aspect, okay. This is how your embryo will look. This is amniotic cavity and this is yolk sac, okay. And here we have ectoderm and here we have endoderm. Between the ectoderm and endoderm we can see intraembryonic mesoderm. Is it clear? This is the coronal section of your developing embryo. On the above region we have amniotic cavity, below we have yolk sac, and also we can see ectoderm and endoderm. Between the ectoderm and endoderm we have intraembryonic mesoderm, okay. In the intraembryonic mesoderm again we have two important structure. What are those? We have neural tube and notochord, okay. This is neural tube and this is notochord. Notochord is present below the neural tube, okay. On either side of the neural tube we have an important cell structure. What it is called? It's neural crest cells, okay. In the intraembryonic mesoderm we have two important structure. The first one is neural tube. Below the neural tube we have notochord. On either side of the neural tube we have neural crest cells, okay. And this entire structure is surrounded by extraembryonic mesoderm, okay. This is how the coronal section of your developing embryo will look. Any doubts? Any doubts in this? Okay, next we'll move on to the sagittal section, okay. In the sagittal section also we can see the amniotic cavity, yolk sac, ectoderm, endoderm and intraembryonic mesoderm. In the intraembryonic mesoderm we have the same structure as we seen in the coronal section, okay. But in the sagittal section we will get two ends. One is cranial end and another one is caudal end. So this, stop talking. This is cranial end. I can also address it as head part, and this is caudal end. I can also address it as toe region, okay. We have cranial and caudal end in the sagittal section of the developing embryo. On both the ends we can see three important structures, okay. On the cranial end or the cranial most end, we have first important structure, that is heart. This is heart, like this is pericardial region. Second one, this is the pericardial region. The first one is septum transversum. Septum transversum. Okay. And the second important structure is pericardial region, followed by we have buccopharyngeal membrane. This is buccopharyngeal membrane. Okay. On the caudal end, again we have three important structure. The very first one is cloacal membrane, and this structure, which is the elongation from your yolk sac, it is called allantois. Between these two, we have one more important structure, that is connecting stalk. Okay. On the cranial end, we have septum transversum followed by pericardial region, then we have buccopharyngeal membrane. What is the another name for buccopharyngeal membrane? What is the another name for buccopharyngeal membrane? Find out what is the another name for buccopharyngeal membrane. Okay. On the caudal end, we have cloacal membrane and elongation from your yolk sac, that is called allantois. Between these two structures, we have one more important structure, that is connecting stalk. Okay. Remember one important point, your buccopharyngeal membrane and cloacal membrane is present in the region where your mesoderm is absent. Okay. In this region, your mesoderm is absent, so your ectoderm and endoderm are connecting with each other on both the sides. Okay. Next, from the septum transversum, we can see the development of diaphragm, followed by pericardial region, where we can see the development of heart, and then we have buccopharyngeal membrane, from which we can see the development of your mouth and esophagus parts. Okay. Any doubts in this? This is how the coronal section and sagittal section of your developing embryo will look. Later, after this, the folding of embryo starts taking place. There are two types of foldings we can learn. The first one is craniocaudal folding and the second one is lateral folding. In this session, we are only concentrating on the craniocaudal folding. The name itself is telling craniocaudal, that means the foldings are taking place at the cranial end and at the caudal end. This folding is also referred as head and toe foldings. Okay. What is the reason behind the folding of embryo? What is the reason for the folding of embryo? Development. Development of feet. Shifting of organs. Okay. Any other answers? There will be a proliferation of cells in your amniotic cavity region. Due to the proliferation, the size of the amniotic cavity will get increased. Okay. Once the amniotic cavity get increased in the size, the folding takes place at the cranial and caudal end. What are the structures present here and here will start moving in this direction. Okay. This is the reason for your folding of the embryo. Any doubts? Any doubts in this? No? Okay. This is your amniotic cavity. It has increased in the side, so we can see the foldings on the cranial and caudal ends. Okay. Now your yolk sac, whatever it is present below your amniotic cavity, will get incorporated into this area. So this is your yolk sac. Okay. Now we will see the structure that were present in the cranial end. What are the three structure we have seen in the cranial end? Septum transversum, buccopharyngeal membrane and pericardial region. So now we can see this is the first, second and third. In the first place we can see the buccopharyngeal membrane followed by pericardial region followed by your septum transversum. Okay. From this we can see the development of mouth and esophagus followed by heart and followed by diaphragm. Now you can see the order. Okay. This is how the folding of your embryo takes place, or the changes that is going to happen in the amniotic cavity after the foldings. Now we will concentrate on the yolk sac part. Before, in the coronal section, we have seen only one elevation or elongation that happens in your yolk sac region, that is allantois. This is allantois. But after the folding, we can see one more elongation that takes place from your yolk sac. This structure is called vitalo-intestinal duct. Okay. So after the folding of embryo in the yolk sac, we can see two elongations. One is allantois and the another one is vitalo-intestinal duct. Now this region of your yolk sac is called primitive gut. Okay. This is how the formation of primitive gut takes place. From this primitive gut, your entire digestive tract is going to develop. See that the digestive tract, that is also known as gastrointestinal tract, develops from the primitive gut, that is derived from the dorsal part of endodermal yolk sac. The primitive gut forms during the 4th week of the intrauterine life by the incorporation of a large portion of the yolk sac into the embryonic disc during the craniocaudal and lateral folding of the embryo. The tubular primitive gut extends in the medial plane from the buccopharyngeal membrane at its cranial end to a cloacal membrane at its caudal end. I have explained all those points. Okay. So now we have finally got the primitive gut. What are the parts of primitive gut? What are the parts of primitive gut? Foregut, midgut and hindgut. How do we classify them? There are different ways to classify your gut or parts of the gut. The area or the part which is closer to your cranial end is called foregut, and the area or the part which is closer to your caudal end is called hindgut. The area present between the foregut and hindgut is called midgut. Okay. This is the one way to classify. The another one way is the area or to the area for which your allantois is getting open, that is called hindgut. To the area your vitalo-intestinal duct is getting open, that is called midgut, and the remaining one is called foregut. That is the another way to describe the parts of your primitive gut. Okay. Okay. This is your primitive gut. We have two structure, vitalointestinal duct and allantois. Okay. Your allantois will open into hindgut. Your vitalointestinal duct will open into midgut, and the remaining area will name it as foregut. This is the another way to describe the parts of the gut. Any doubts? Any doubts in this? Okay. Now you have around the vitalointestinal duct and the allantois, your umbilical cord will present. Okay. Here we can see the umbilical cord. And this point is the opening of umbilical cord. Okay. Around your vitalointestinal duct and allantois, we can see the presence of umbilical cord. So this point is the opening of your umbilical cord. So now tell me the contents of umbilical cord. What are the contents of umbilical cord? Umbilical artery and vein. Along with that, we have vitalointestinal duct and allantois. We have two umbilical artery and one umbilical vein. Remember this, we have two umbilical artery and one umbilical vein, and that one umbilical vein is left umbilical vein. Remember where we have studied the left umbilical vein? Development of IVC. Okay. Where we have studied the umbilical vein? Aortic arch. Okay, during the fetal circulation, I have mentioned your purification. During the fetal circulation, I have mentioned the purification of blood takes place in the placenta of the mother. From the placenta, it has to enter your developing heart. That takes place through the left umbilical vein. I have mentioned this point. So, we have two umbilical artery and one umbilical vein, that is left umbilical vein. These are the contents of your umbilical cord. Umbilical cord. Okay. Any doubts in this? No doubts? We'll see the blood supply for the gut region. This is the representation of your gut tube. Whatever the structure present here, I have written in a straight line structure. Okay. Now this is the anterior side and this is the posterior side. On the posterior side of your gut tube, we have very important structure, that is dorsal aorta. So the branches from the dorsal aorta will supply to your gut region. Okay. So this is your foregut, this is midgut and this is hindgut. Your foregut is supplied by celiac trunk and the midgut is supplied by superior mesenteric artery and the hindgut is supplied by inferior mesenteric artery. This is the another way to classify or tell the different parts of the gut region. If the gut region is supplied by celiac trunk, it is called foregut. If it is supplied by superior mesenteric artery, it is called midgut, and if it is supplied by inferior mesenteric artery, we call it as hindgut. These are the three different ways to classify your gut region or primitive gut. This is all about the formation of primitive gut and also the foldings of the embryo. Once the primitive gut form, we divide it into three parts: foregut, celiac trunk. Foregut, midgut and hindgut. Foregut is supplied by celiac trunk, midgut is supplied by superior mesenteric artery and the hindgut is supplied by inferior mesenteric artery. Any doubts in this? What are the sections of developing embryo we have discussed in this session? Can you name them? Digestive tract, okay. Anything else?